Yeah. Going into marriage, I had a few expectations of me and my partner. And looking back at some of the expectations I had, I'm like, girl, what were you thinking? I mean, the expectations were like up here. Hey. But having walked this journey, I've learned a few lessons along the way. And these include one, marriage is hard work. Like, I often hear people say marriage is hard, but having been there for this little time, I don't think marriage is hard if both partners are working on it. However, I think marriage is hard work in a sense that you have to be intentional about a lot of things, like spending quality time together, going on date nights. Because when you get married, if you let life get in the way, like you start neglecting each other, and that affects the romance in the relationship, which is really, really not good. So I've learned that you gotta be intentional. If it means scheduling the quality time or date night, go ahead. Put it on a calendar so that you can allocate time for the two of you amidst your busy schedules. Because I mean, it's life. You can grow apart maybe because of a high demanding job and there's no enough time spent together, or life challenges in themselves. So yes, marriage is hard work. You gotta work on it continuously. Lesson 2, happiness is a personal responsibility. I don't know what I was thinking when I first got into marriage, but somehow I completely relieved myself of the duty of making me happy and assigned it to my husband without his knowledge. You know, this is what I mean. Like, I stopped doing things that made me happy. For me, everything I did had my husband's name tagged on it. I'll give you an example. Like, my husband is not adventurous with food, and so here I was in the kitchen coming up with new recipes all the time, and he was not excited as I expected him to be. Like, you come up with something new and he's like, oh, I'll try it later. And you're like, try it now. I want to see, if you like it or why. I want to see your reaction. And he's not one to push around with new things. Like, he's rigid like that. And that used to put me down, coming up with, I'm trying this, I'm trying that. And for him, it's slow to adjust to some things. And it really affected my happiness. I used to feel like he doesn't care, he's so negative, he doesn't appreciate my efforts and all that. But I've learned that is him. And I had all those feelings because I was doing it for him. I was not including myself in the equation. And so after some time I had to adjust, because personally I'm adventurous with a lot of things. So I started cooking or doing new recipes for myself. Whether he tries it or not, I am okay. I'm happy. And believe you me, it worked. Now I'm more happy than I was at the beginning, because I used to push him to like everything that I like, do everything that I like, which is really not right. It doesn't work. But I'm happier now. I get to do the things that I like, that I know he doesn't like. I leave him out if he doesn't like. If he comes along, he comes along. And it's a win-win. Whether he comes along or not, I am happy. He's happy and comfortable where he is, So that was kind of a challenge for me, but I had to learn it, and it really does help. 3, communication is key. Well, along this journey, I've learned that talking about the things that you like and you don't like is important, because forever is a long time to spend with someone who has no clue of what you like and what you don't like. I mean, we are brought up from different, family backgrounds, and so we do things differently. We express ourselves differently. So, living in the same space, yeah, being that we are human, you cannot really do away with some errors. And so, sometimes someone can offend you intentionally, and other times not intentionally because they had no clue that would offend you. However, talking about it and bringing it to their attention helps. That's why communication is key. Otherwise, when you keep quiet, when you don't speak about the things that offend you when you are in a relationship, they keep piling up and piling up and piling up. And the day you decide to talk about them, you won't actually be talking about them. You will just burst out, which is not good. You will just explode, and that usually ends up in a fight that is really unnecessary. So I've learned that you need to communicate the good and the bad. If your partner does something good, appreciate them, applaud them. If your partner does something that is not good, tell them you don't appreciate when they do such and such a thing, so that they are aware. Don't assume. Don't be like, they know they offended me. Let me just sit here and wait for them to apologize. No, you gotta confront it, talk about it right away. Don't save it for later. That usually doesn't work out well. Well, and the other thing that I can mention here is communication. With communication, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Does it make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. I'll give you an example. If you approach someone in an accusatory tone, that will trigger a defense mechanism and the walls will be up. You get what I'm saying? It's like, let me give you an example. It's like, if my husband has done something that I don't appreciate, and I've watched him do it several times, but I hadn't mentioned it, and I go to talk to him to express my dislike of that habit to him, and my approach is like, but you always do this and that. You did it the other time and did it here again. You did it the other day. That is not opening grounds for communication. You're not going to find out why he keeps doing that and all that, because it's going to trigger a defense mechanism, and then it's going to end up in a fight. So I've learned to, when I'm going to communicate, I set myself straight, I calm down, and then communicate with a clear mind. So maybe you could keep that in mind as well. And this works for all relationships, romantic or not. Sibling, parents, yes, it works in all relationships. So that was point number 3. Communication is key. Point number 4, why did I get married moments? Like, going into marriage, I knew all relationships, have their ups and downs, and usually normal relationships have uptime of 80 to 90% of the time, and then they have some downtime of 10 to 20%. So I was aware that no relationship is completely perfect. I expected fights and all that, but when you're dating and you're in courtship, you have this image of your partner, and then you start staying together and they do or say something you didn't expect, and you're like, what? Hell no, I didn't sign up for that. No, I didn't sign up for that. Where did that come from? And yes, it happened to me. Sometimes I was like, no, he didn't. But they happened. I don't know why, I expected them, but I think I was not ready when they happened. So yes, they really caught me off guard. Which brings me to point number 5. God is the glue to marriage. I mean, binding these 2 points, like when those moments happen, like sometimes you're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And you need the grace of God to stay in there. Like, I mean, you literally need God. Some things happen and they completely shock you, and you're like, huh? But when you have God, like, He gives you the grace to persevere. He gives you the grace to be patient. He gives you the grace to find peace that surpasses all understanding amidst those challenges. So yes, God is the glue to marriage. Like, when I didn't know what to do, when I was confused, I prayed. I prayed, and before I knew it, that time also passed. It also passed. So always remember to make God the center of your marriage. Let Him sit at the throne of your household. Basically, keep God in your marriage. Number 6, self-care is important. I don't know what I was thinking at the beginning of my marriage, but I wanted to be Superwoman. I wanted to be Wonder Woman, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, you see how they always tell us, I'm a Christian, by the way. I don't know if I had mentioned that before, but I'm a Christian, and we are always told to be virtuous women. We strive to be Proverbs 31 women, and going into marriage as like, bring it on, as like, let's do this, bring it on. So I go into marriage, with these high expectations of myself. I wanted to do all the house chores like a housewife, completely ignoring the fact that I have a full-time job. Like, I wanted to do chores on it. I wanted to clean the floors on a daily. I wanted to cook fresh food on a daily. I wanted to do laundry on a daily, clear the sink on a daily, dust the doors and windows on a daily. Like, I don't know if you get the picture of what I wanted to do on a daily, on top of my full-time job, which is like sometimes so demanding in that I work late hours. So I go in, I started doing all that. My God, didn't I burn out? Like, I remember one night I was literally crawling to go do the dishes, and my husband, he had been watching for some time, and my husband was like, woman, like, sit down. You need to rest. You need to relax. Yeah? You need to chill. Those were his very words. I was like, God. He was like, this is our house. No one is going to come and punish you for having dishes in the sink overnight. You need to chill. I mean, when he told me that, I sat back and thought to myself, what are you doing? Like, you're exhausted like this before you even have a child. Like, what will happen when you have a child? You're literally going to die. So I sat back and I thought to myself, I had to come up with mechanisms. I had to make adjustments to the things I was doing so that I can be more productive, I can rest, I can have more me time, I can prioritize better. And so I came up with a chore chart. I'll put it on the side, I think here or here, whereby I assign different chores on different days so that I don't really burn out. things started getting better. I started having enough time to rest. I started, prioritizing better, and things have been better for me. So, self-care. You don't need to like burn out to prove that you're working hard or you're a virtuous woman. No, you need to allocate your time in the right way so that you can take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mind, have enough time to rest accordingly. So I've learned that the hard way. Well, thank you for watching, and if you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing and drop me a like, leave me a comment, and share. Until next time, ciao.